In each of our hearts, there's a question we all face at some point. Why do we always feel so much pain when we lose something? Maybe you've desperately tried to hold on to someone in a relationship, even though deep down, you knew they no longer belonged to you. Have you ever asked yourself why, despite all your efforts, you still couldn't keep them? It's like that simple yet thought-provoking question. The wind is strong. Does the tree cry because it can't hold on to its leaves? Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the end of a relationship, even wondering if you did something wrong? Is the pain of love's departure something we can't bear, or is it simply an unavoidable part of life's natural laws? Many people get lost in this question, as the storms in their hearts and the cold winds of emotion intertwine, leaving them gasping for air. But do we really need to suffer because of loss? Do we really need to lose ourselves over things we cannot control? In today's video, we'll dive deep into this. What is the true nature of love? Is it about desperately holding on to the past, or is it about finding the courage to root ourselves in the present, accepting loss, and waiting for new beginnings? Love isn't a battle of possession. It's a journey of self-growth. When you learn to stand firm in the wind, to dance with change, you'll realize that the departure of love isn't the end. It's the beginning of new possibilities. I hope this video helps you find your own answer, teaching you how to be strong like a tree, how to face the howl of the wind and the fall of leaves without letting it shake you. Are you ready? Let's step into this profound and peaceful world of philosophy and find our roots in the wind. The wind is an invisible yet powerful force, seemingly omnipresent and impossible to grasp. In love, it often symbolizes those external forces we cannot control. Time, distance, external pressures, even the differences in personality between two people. These invisible storms arrive when we least expect them, disturbing the calm waters of our hearts. We've all experienced those moments in a relationship when it feels like the wind begins to intensify, bringing challenges and uncertainty, causing us to lose our direction in the storm. Sometimes the wind seems to be trying to change something. Maybe it's the growing distance between us and our partner, or perhaps our expectations are slowly drifting apart. Whatever it is, it always leaves us feeling powerless, as if no matter how hard we struggle, we can't change the direction of the wind. Yet these external factors in love are often the challenges we overlook, but inevitably have to face. The wind comes, taking away things we cannot hold on to. Just as love is not something we can fully control, it shifts like the wind, subtly changing the dynamics of a relationship. The harder we try to hold on, the more we tire ourselves out. When the wind blows fiercely, many people try to hold on tightly, hoping to fight against it and keep the relationship steady and enduring. But in reality, this struggle often leaves us more exhausted, even in pain. When we try to force things to go our way, not only do we drain each other's energy, but we also destabilize the very foundation of the relationship. It's like trying to hold on to every leaf in the wind. No matter how hard we try, the wind will eventually blow them away. What cannot be kept will inevitably be lost. However, if we could find balance in the wind, accepting its presence rather than resisting it, perhaps the outcome would be different. Going with the flow is not about giving up, but about dancing in harmony with the wind, finding new space for ourselves and our partner in the process. When we learn not to fight against the wind, but instead find our footing in it, we discover new strength amidst change. In the storms of love, only by accepting what we cannot control can we find inner peace. As the philosopher said, you cannot stop the wind from blowing, but you can adjust your posture. The winds of love may be unavoidable. They will come quietly, taking away some things, but they also teach us how to adjust our stance, how to find our center in the wind, and how to maintain inner calm and resilience. The tree, as a living being in nature, is not only a symbol of life, but also synonymous with resilience and independence. Its roots are deeply embedded in the earth, drawing nutrients, while its trunk reaches for the sky, seemingly forever connected to the land. However, the tree's foundation is not always strong from the start. Over time, it deepens through the accumulation of experience, enduring the impact of storms and the changing soil until it forms a solid support. The roots of a tree represent the inner strength of life, reminding us that only with a strong foundation can we stand firm in the face of life's storms. In relationships, each of us is like a tree, with our foundation representing our independence and inner value. Without a solid foundation, relationships can easily turn into a form of invisible dependence, losing their healthy balance. A tree without roots, no matter how lush its leaves, will eventually have them blown away by the wind. Likewise, a person without inner strength often places their self-worth in others, losing themselves and losing their way in the process. We may find ourselves unconsciously sacrificing our true selves in an effort to please the other, silencing our inner voice just to meet their expectations and satisfy their needs. But this dependence and sacrifice only make us more fragile, as we are not rooted in our own value and independence. The tree doesn't stop growing just because the seasons change. It understands that its roots are the source of its connection to the world. Similarly, in love, only individuals who possess independence can make the relationship one of symbiosis, not one of unilateral dependence. We can support each other, but we must never become fully dependent. As the Stoic philosophers said, we can control only our response to the external world, not the choices of others. This means that our inner world should be independent and strong. We cannot place our emotions in someone else's hands, as we cannot control their actions or emotional fluctuations. Just as trees cannot control the wind, they withstand it through their deep roots and strong trunks. What we can do is strengthen our inner foundation, so that even amid the changing winds of love, we remain steady. Without a solid inner foundation, the storms of love can scatter us to the winds. Many people treat love as their whole world, trying to use it to fill the gaps in their sense of self. But this approach often backfires. Relying on others to define our value will ultimately cause us to lose ourselves in the turbulence of relationships. In love, mutual dependence is not a bad thing, but it must be built on the foundation of both partners having independence and self-worth to create a healthy symbiosis. The essence of love is not possession, but sharing. When we find our inner foundation and no longer depend on the approval of others to validate our worth, love can truly flow freely. The growth of a tree is never instant. It's a process of continuous accumulation and adjustment. In this process, its roots grow stronger, supporting a taller and more resilient trunk. Similarly, in our inner world, only through the trials and self-healing in love can we gradually establish a strong sense of self. In relationships, we must recognize that our happiness does not come from others' opinions of us, but from our own inner independence and fulfillment. Imagine a tree whose branches and leaves fall with the changing seasons, yet its roots remain firmly planted in the soil, untouched by the wind and rain. For a tree, the departure of its leaves is simply part of the natural order. It never mourns, nor does it stop growing. Similarly, in love, true maturity and growth come from the ability to stay true to ourselves in the face of loss and separation, without being swayed by external changes. A tree does not stop growing because it loses its leaves. It continues to absorb sunlight, drawing nutrients to prepare for the new season and new life. We should be the same. When a relationship experiences turbulence, we should remain steadfast and calm within ourselves, not allowing external changes to destabilize our inner world. This is the wisdom of rooting. Only when we are strong, independent, and unshaken by dependence can we maintain our sense of self in any relationship and find true balance. Dependence may offer short-term comfort, but it cannot provide lasting strength. Only by finding a solid foundation within ourselves can love support us in our growth and self-discovery without causing us to lose who we truly are. Leaves in nature are a fleeting yet beautiful presence. They bloom on the branches of trees, soaking up sunlight and carrying out photosynthesis, supporting the growth and flourishing of the tree. Yet eventually, leaves must fall. They cannot remain on the tree forever. Their life is short-lived, though in that moment they may symbolize vitality and stand as witnesses to the tree's peak. Similarly, in relationships, some moments are deeply beautiful, but inevitably fleeting. The falling of leaves symbolizes the intimacy and warmth that once existed, feelings that left a deep mark on our lives. Their departure is an inevitable outcome, but it does not signify failure. In this process, the falling of leaves is a natural law, part of the changing seasons and the cycle of life. As autumn winds blow, the leaves fall, but the tree does not stop growing because of their loss. On the contrary, by letting go of these once important parts, the tree gathers strength and prepares for new growth. The departure of leaves makes room for the tree to embrace new vitality and growth. For us, in matters of love, the meaning of departure lies precisely here. The end of a relationship is not a story of failure. It is a new beginning, creating space and strength for our future growth and exploration. The significance of separation is not just in the pain it causes, but in how it prompts us to reflect, grow, and discover a deeper sense of self. Often, in relationships, we become mired in the beauty of the past, unable to move on, trapped in self-blame and regret. However, if we understand the nature of separation on a deeper level, we realize that the end of a relationship does not mean the end of life. It marks the beginning of a new phase. When leaves fall, a tree does not stagnate. It experiences renewal, preparing to sprout new branches and embrace new sunlight. Instead of lingering in pain, we can accept change and draw strength from it. Every relationship's end offers us an opportunity to rediscover ourselves. In love, we often depend on the other person, seeking validation and a sense of belonging from them. When a relationship ends, we may feel deeply lost, as if everything has been taken away, and even our sense of self starts to fade. Yet, it is precisely through this separation that we are given the chance to reflect on who we are, what we need, and how to find our value and strength even without the other person. Just as trees continue to draw nutrients from the soil after their leaves have fallen, we can extract lessons from past experiences and continue to move forward. If a tree abandoned its growth just to hold on to its leaves, its life would lose its purpose. Similarly, if we stagnate in a relationship out of fear of losing it, we will ultimately lose our true self. While the leaves in love are beautiful, they do not represent the entirety of life. Their purpose is not to stay forever, but to contribute to the tree's growth and development. Each leaf that falls represents a part of the tree's life cycle, and each relationship that ends is also part of our personal growth. If we cling to the past, trying to bring back what is already gone, we miss the opportunity to live fully in the present and discover our true self. We must learn to let go, giving ourselves the chance to embrace new experiences and deeper growth. When we learn to accept the meaning of separation, we can face the ups and downs of love with greater composure. Departure is not an end, but an opportunity to become a more complete version of ourselves. Just as a tree loses all its leaves in the winter and doesn't stop breathing or growing, it remains rooted in the soil, ready to greet the new life with fresh branches and leaves when spring comes. Similarly, the departure of love should not lead us into despair, but should serve as a moment to reevaluate our path and find new direction. Every ending makes us stronger and more mature for the new beginning that follows. Let us draw strength from the wisdom of the tree. Do not lose faith in life because of the falling of leaves. Learn to see the potential for rebirth in every departure. Like the tree, we can draw nourishment from every ending, continue growing, and welcome new life and hope. When we talk about love, we often find ourselves unintentionally associating it with possession. We yearn to claim someone's time, emotions, and even their thoughts, hoping that in doing so, we can find a sense of security or fulfill our own needs by having the other person rely entirely on us. However, true love isn't about possession. It's about acceptance. Love is about respect and understanding. It's about giving, not taking. It's about allowing the other person to grow in their own freedom, not restricting their choices. Just as trees maintain their independence and resilience in their interaction with the wind, the real power of love lies in respecting each other's freedom and choices. Love is not about controlling the other person. It's about respecting them as an independent individual. Often, our desire to possess in relationships doesn't stem from deep love for the other person, but from our own fears and insecurities. We fear losing them, being abandoned, or facing the impermanence of emotions. This fear causes us to unintentionally turn love into a form of restriction, trying to avoid loss by controlling the other person. But this kind of control is not love. It tends to suffocate both individuals, creating distance. True love, on the other hand, is free. It allows two people to depend on each other while remaining independent. True love is an elevated emotion. It requires us to move from dependence to freedom, from taking to giving. Dependence is an emotional need, driven by the emptiness within us, a desire to fill the void with another person. But true love should not be about dependence. It should be a form of free symbiosis. Freedom doesn't mean distance. It means both individuals can breathe and grow freely within their own world, while also offering each other support and understanding. Love is about giving. It's about helping the other person discover more of themselves in the relationship, rather than losing themselves in the shadow of the other. In love, both people are independent individuals and yet interconnected beings. Only in this balance can love truly flourish. If we compare a relationship to the dynamics between the wind, the tree, and the leaves, the wind represents external forces, the tree represents our independence, and the leaves symbolize intimacy and dependence in love. In any relationship, each person needs to find their place. We must root ourselves like a tree, with a solid foundation, while also interacting like leaves, offering warmth and support to one another. A tree needs sunlight and rain, while leaves provide the ability to absorb sunlight and photosynthesize, working in harmony. But just as a tree doesn't place all its energy in the leaves, its growth doesn't stop when the leaves fall. Every leaf will eventually fall, but that doesn't mean the tree's life ends. In fact, it's a renewal of life, making room for new leaves and new growth. The balance between the wind and the tree in relationships is one of respect and acceptance. In love, we need to maintain our inner independence and respect the other person's choices, rather than seeing them as the sole support for our emotions. We are all trees with our own roots and vitality. It's only on this solid foundation that a relationship can become a true symbiosis, not mere dependency. When we learn to let the other person be free, allowing for change and growth, our relationship will become stronger and more enduring. Because only when we stop trying to control the other person and truly respect their independence, will love thrive in a space of freedom, rather than in entanglement and constraint. Though the leaves fall, they do not stop the tree from absorbing sunlight and welcoming new seasons. The departure of a relationship is not a failure, but the beginning of renewal. The end of any relationship is a part of life. It offers us new opportunities for growth. If we can maintain this balance in love, neither depending on nor constraining the other person, but offering freedom and support through love, we will find our truest self and deepest love in the relationship between the wind, the tree, and the leaves. The appearance of new leaves always carries the promise of life and renewal. They are the continuation of what was lost, embodying the timeless cycle of nature. Whether it's the harsh chill of winter or the desolation of autumn, each new leaf's growth is a response to what has been lost, a powerful manifestation of vitality. Their arrival symbolizes a new beginning. It is the tree's revival after the cold winter, a reflection of nature's profound cycle of death and rebirth, endings and new beginnings. In the world of relationships, new leaves represent hope, drawing strength from past losses, symbolizing stepping out of old relationships and standing firm to embrace a brighter future. Every relationship's end, though often accompanied by pain and helplessness, offers a profound opportunity to learn, reflect, and grow from our past experiences. Loss is not the end. It is the inevitable precursor to new life. The arrival of new leaves tells us that what we've lost hasn't truly disappeared. Rather, it has become nourishment for our continued growth. Just as a tree, after losing its leaves, still draws water and nutrients from the soil to grow new branches, we, after experiencing pain, loss, and separation, can use those experiences to strengthen ourselves, building a solid foundation for future relationships and personal growth. However, welcoming new life is not an immediate process. It requires us first to learn how to accept past losses and find the opportunity for growth within them. We should not bury or ignore our past pain, but face it and understand it. Confronting our losses is not about staying trapped in the pain of the past, but rather about drawing strength from it. Each relationship's end is a deep self-exploration. From it, we can reflect on our own shortcomings, understand our true needs, and even identify changes we should make for future relationships. Only by truly accepting past losses can we make room for new leaves, enabling us to enter future relationships with greater maturity and strength. To welcome new life, we must learn to let go and release. Letting go means releasing our attachment to the past and our fear of loss. Releasing means freeing ourselves from the internal constraints that hold us back, allowing ourselves to be more open and free in future emotional connections. Just as a tree cannot welcome new leaves if it holds on to the dead ones, we too must let go of past burdens to embrace future emotional experiences with a renewed spirit. More importantly, we must maintain strong roots. Trees continue to grow after every loss because their roots are firmly embedded in the earth, drawing every ounce of resource and nourishment. Similarly, our hearts must become more resilient and independent after experiencing pain. A solid foundation allows us to stand firm even through the storms of emotional turmoil. The foundation for this strength lies in self-awareness and personal growth. In future relationships, we no longer place all our emotional needs on others. Instead, we learn to coexist with others without losing ourselves. Philosophically, every ending is a new beginning. This is not only a teaching of Stoic philosophy, but also a truth of life. The end of a relationship is not a denial of love. It is a part of life's cycle. We cannot control the past, but we can control our choices in the present and future. When one door closes, another opens. The lost leaves are just a stage in our growth, and new leaves bring fresh hope and possibilities. By learning to draw strength from past experiences, staying strong and free, we can approach future relationships with greater maturity, able to give and receive love more fully. New leaves symbolize our future potential and opportunities. They represent hope, signifying that even in the coldest moments, life can still find a way to grow. Let us draw strength from the wisdom of trees, courageously welcoming new beginnings after each ending. In love, we may not be able to control the wind's movements, but we can decide how to root ourselves, how to grow, and how to find hope again in the face of loss. Every ending serves to help us become more complete and stronger so that we can embrace a brighter tomorrow. A tree doesn't cry when its leaves fall. It chooses to accept and continue growing. Just like the cycles of nature, separations in relationships are often unavoidable, but they are not the end. Rather, they mark a new beginning. Every loss carries the potential for growth, and it is through these departures that we shape a more resilient and mature heart. We cannot control the strength of the wind, nor can we stop the leaves from falling. However, we can choose how to face these uncertainties. Like a tree, we can root ourselves in the storm, maintaining our inner independence and resilience. We can learn to accept the past and embrace the future. Each farewell is a profound rite of self-purification. It teaches us how to let love and self coexist, how to maintain balance amid change. Therefore, there is no need to dwell on past losses or fear what lies ahead. We possess endless potential, capable of growing amidst the wind, using our roots to welcome each storm, embracing every farewell with a wide-open heart, and holding on to the promise of renewal, eagerly awaiting what's to come. Love is like the wind, life is like the tree. What matters is not how strong the wind is, but how we grow in it, becoming the best version of ourselves.